invite a guest speaker that is going to share knowledge about how to deal in these situations with stress. And that's why Caitlin is here. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself too. My name is Dana Maria Vaneke. I've been sailing around the world as a crew member on big traditional sailing vessels, first as a mate and later as a captain. And now I'm making people captains of their lives. And virtual reality is the most powerful tool to help me with my mission. That's why I founded Captain VR. And I'm proud to be part of the Educators in VR platform that is founded by Laurel van Vossen and Daniel Dibowski Bryant. And I'm the team leader of the vCoaching and personal development track. And this track is to build a network of people around the world who are interested in coaching and personal development and provide them an interactive space where they can communicate, share knowledge, support, connect, and inspire each other, and maybe even join forces to create a better real world for everyone. So I'm so happy here to have you all here, and especially that we have today's guest speaker, Caitlin Krause. Caitlin is specialized in UX design, story and well-being in XR. She works as a story designer in digital therapeutics with a focus on interactive XR using mindfulness, guided imagery, HCD, biofeedback, BA, and CBT. She's the founder of consultancy MindWise and launched her book Mindful by Design at the World Economic Forum and spoke about the future of education, sci-fi, and immersive technology. Caitlin has been a teacher and a curriculum designer for over 2 decades, and through her leadership and organizational consulting, she helps individuals and teams create connection in the midst of complexity and change. She recently created a mindfulness and self series in social VR, fusing presence, storytelling, curiosity, and emotional intelligence. Her mission is to empower humanity through connection. So we are so happy to have her. Please give her a big hand. Caitlin Krause.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Welcome.
And just for articulating so much that's in our minds and hearts right now. I guess I would start out just by saying, if there's any chance that somebody is in that room with the stage, that all they have to do is face the stage and walk to the left and walk through those outer doors, and they're going to get to us here in this grove. Because it's really nice to be here, and I find myself looking around the space and kind of just taking in the magic, even the details of the tree swaying a little bit. So before I start talking, I just want you to make sure you're standing somewhere where you feel you're comfortable, you have a good view. Since we're in a group, I would say it would be really nice if people were standing in a way that their back is not to anybody else. So if you notice someone maybe behind you, beside you, and we want to morph ourselves into a little circle, maybe that would be nice. But come as you are and just be really comfortable. It's my pleasure to be here. I will tell you, as I came in, it's morning my time, I was very aware that I wanted to be standing as I'm standing in VR. And I don't know, maybe you could just make an emoji or some face. If this ever happens to you, just a minor dissonance if you are sitting down and your VR body is standing, or you're in some position that's really uncomfortable in the quote unquote real world, and then in VR you're in an expansive land. I do think there's some combination of our physical body and our avatar. So right now, I just wanted to do a little warm-up where we're in our bodies, where we give ourselves time to arrive, because sometimes I think in life, in work, VR included, we show up to these places and we don't really give our minds and our whole self time to arrive with us. So right now you might see me slightly swaying a little bit, because what I'm doing is kind of playing with my balance on my feet. I just wanted to start with a playful body exercise where you might try to shift your weight if you're standing, or if you're sitting, maybe just move your body slightly right to left and see how that feels as you're kind of connecting with your avatar. And, it's fine to just consider your avatar a part of yourself. I was recently at a design thinking workshop, and the speaker, Jeever Tully, he started a school in the San Francisco area called the Tinkering School, and they play with a lot of tools. And he said, as humans, it's interesting when we use a tool, we actually consider it part of our body. Like, you don't really say, the hammer hit the nail. You say, I hammered the nail, So as soon as we start to use things, avatars included, they become part of us. So it sounds very simple, but maybe just even take your hands. If you're not on a 2D desktop, you can take your hands in front of you and just kind of look at them. They're interesting, right? They're kind of blocky. I grew up loving this band called Dire Straits. I don't know if anyone knows Dire Straits, but they had this song with a video, I Want My MTV, and it started coming out, and there were all these MTV characters. I always think about that when I see my avatar here, some of the blockiness, but also the beauty of it. Okay, so feel free to play with your hands, look down at your feet, just acclimate to your space. For me, I've been working in education, working with mindfulness and well-being, and it all really starts with awareness and dropping in on the present moment with a spirit of curiosity. So I started that exercise before I started talking about myself, my background, what I do, because I'm always reminding myself to not overleap that state of curiosity and that state of wonder. Each of us has that capacity in ourselves. And I think that VR even kind of amplifies the experience for us, because we get to take on new forms, go to new places. And sometimes the wonderful thing is being able to lose yourself and then find yourself again and say, oh, what experience did I have there? What was I feeling in the moment? And how can I capture that feeling of expansion and transfer it to somebody else? And I think that's part of the power of vCoaching, to break down those barriers and also bring us back to a state of just being very human. Like, here I am, grateful for these hands here that can create dances and take me to new places and be my Jeever Tully tools to pick things up. So for me, I break down mindfulness when I'm working with it to 3 letter A's. The first A is awareness, just increasing my awareness. How many people have noticed that there are birds chirping in the background? You heard any birds? Yeah. So sometimes my awareness is really just taking in all my senses and appreciating that. Not evaluating it, but just noticing. And then the second A is, for me, advancing. And I don't mean advancing like I have 10 tasks to do and I have to do them by this time. I mean advancing like stretching beyond those stories that might be limiting that I carried with me. So advancing as a possibility and saying, oh, what stories do I want to endorse for myself? And how do I play many parts and many roles, just like my students are not one label? So this idea of advancing actually has to do with agency and risk-taking, all kinds of components. And then the third A that I attach to mindfulness is authenticity. Because when I start to use that awareness and that advancing, suddenly I'm breaking down any idea of having to be a certain way or judging myself, and it turns more into this Mobius strip where my inner world and my outer world intersect. And I love meeting people in groups and talking with them about what's happening in their real lives, and really working together. Just like Dana Maria said at the beginning, what type of world can we create when we're authentically connected like that and aligned with our goals? So I will just pause there. I think I've said a lot, but I'm so happy to talk with everybody, to, answer questions, to ask questions. I see us all as a collective campfire. And there's a great quote, the smartest person in the room is the room. So here we're in an outdoor space, outdoor room. But I just want you to, feel part of the conversation. And certainly I bring a lot of history to the table. And here what I love is it's out in nature, it's beautiful, and we can just relax and share. So thank you to Dana Maria for bringing me here. And yeah, there are lots more to say, but I'll turn this into more an open conversation. Yeah, does anyone have any questions or
Yes,
thoughts to share?
I already have one question or two questions, so people can raise their hand by the raise hand button on the right hand side of the bottom. So there's now three questions. Let's go first. HGS11. Can you ask your question, please? You can, I unmuted you, so you can just start talking if you like, or just did you push the button by accident? Or can you still not speak? Who is the one I was, who is that? Oh, he's already gone. Ewan, can you please
Yes.
ask your question? Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Mhm.
How long have you been in this industry for?
Oh, that's a great question. So Ewan, let's see. I think for a lot of us, maybe it's a semi-permeable membrane where we didn't just suddenly. For me, if the industry involves curiosity and awareness, probably my whole life. I grew up writing stories, moved all over the world. My parents were diplomats, so we grew up in different countries. And I was always surrounded by other languages and different cultures. And I think as humans, maybe you can put an emoji out there if you feel the same. We have a wish to belong. So I remember being a little kid and just wanting to fit in and not speaking the language yet. Um, and this might be a sidetrack, but there was a person in my nursery school that actually reached out to me when I was feeling alone and I didn't understand the instructions. And he showed me how to do something just by miming it with his hands and showing me how to take part in the exercise. And I remember that. I was 4. And I remember it because it was a human reaching out to another human and wanting to help them beyond the traditional language that we might have to instruct. So I would say that these experiences in my childhood always made me want to break boundaries and be really curious. I think as humans, we look at systems and we want to make sense out of them, but we actually remember things when the system starts to break and we have to improvise. I moved into education after being a computer programmer, and from there, I just started to design different types of learning worlds. And then I started my own company about 5 years ago, and it's called MindWise. And I work with a lot of mindfulness, design, and storytelling, and do lots of interactive work around the world. And around that time, 5 years ago, I also started working on VR projects because I started out as a VR lover and player of games. And I think, like many of us, we're passionate about this world, and that's why we are here and why we do great work inside of it. So thank you for that question. Really awesome. And there are some people that are sending me messages saying that you're on a 2D desktop and you can't really interact as well here. So if you do want to reach out to me, I also have a website that's my name, CaitlinKrause.com, and you can always find my email, find my details. I'm easy to find and happy to answer questions outside of here too if you can't access that interface in here.
Great. Thank you so much. And that was Ewan. And now we have MR Bowles. You're the one who are up next. Can you ask your question, please?
Yeah, I was wondering, what was your name?
My
Yes.
name is Caitlin, Caitlin, and my last name is Krause, Krause. And
Well,
as
I was
Dana
wondering
Maria
what her
said,
name was.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. My name is Dana Maria Vaneker.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that was the question. We can go
I like your name,
next time.
so
Yeah, yeah.
I like
Thank you.
hearing
Me
it.
too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like your name also.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
next
should say
question.
Krause, right?
Yeah, yes, that's better.
Yeah. My Nana is
Le-
Krause. Okay.
uh, sorry, anybody else? Because we have a lot of time left, so we can just ask questions about mindfulness and about your well-being right now. How do you feel? You did a little exercise with Caitlin. Maybe you would like to just have something to say about how did it feel, this little improvise, or what do you want to share? Let me see if I have Merlin. Yes, Merlin, thank you. You can speak now, Merlin.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. I'm wondering what's like, it sounds like you're doing a lot, like writing books, doing the meditations and like all of this stuff what you were telling. But what's a normal week looking like, and how do you go about your life?
That's a great question. I would say I'm kind of smiling because I don't know if any of us are having typical weeks right now. It's a lot of adjusting in place. And I will say another word about that. But I would say normally right now, what I'm trying to do is just think about those base level needs and prioritize them. I do consciously right now try to pay attention to how much sleep I'm getting, the basics, getting some movement. It sounds funny, but being inside, I live in the Bay Area, and it's pretty well populated. So I have to be, conscious of others and conscious of that social distancing. So right now, a typical week for me, because I love to also produce work. I actually don't think there's a fine line between production and consumption. I think sometimes we read something, it inspires us, and it becomes part of what we produce. But I will tell you, my typical day involves certain time when I try to turn the sound down and I try to put my phone away. And that's just because I have such a curious brain that if someone's reaching out to me, I will want to reach out to them. If there's something pinging on my social media, I'll want to pay attention to it. So I try to give myself some time each day to do something like yoga, to stretch. I have a little Boston Terrier and I like taking her for walks. It just reminds me, that life is not linear and no day for me is the same, but they all have some of the same elements in them that are what I prioritize. And my desk right here, which is kind of next to me, has a lot of art supplies because I like to take notes. And that's a tip for anyone right now who might be experiencing Zoom burnout. Try to make something like a game. I have an open journal with a bunch of colorful markers so that if I'm in some serious meeting, I can still take very colorful notes and sketches. And for me, it's a hybrid. You can kind of design the life and the methods that you want that fit your form. So that's why I called my book Mindful by Design, because I think mindfulness, this dropping in on embodied awareness, it can take different forms. And I wanted people to feel a freedom of getting to be the designers of the way that they approach it in their experience. And I say that because maybe there are people in this room that came here because you might not want a formal meditation, or maybe you do. Some people like to sit and meditate for a long time. Other people feel like they might want to take a walk or do some type of activity. I know some people who have mindfulness moments while they're cooking, and I think that's wonderful. So, yeah, so my day involves elements that bring me joy, and also moments that I can kind of attend to how my body's feeling as I'm going about my job and my work. So thank you so much for asking that. Wow,
Nice. Thank you. Let me see.
this is great.
Save it. Saved for live. Can you ask your question, please?
Can we get your, I'm over here,
Hi.
your mindfulness by design, hi, on Amazon?
Can
I'm
you
sorry, I
repeat
might
that
have to
question?
hear the question again. Your voice kind of cut out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can we get your book, Mindfulness by Design on Amazon?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. It's called Mindful by Design. And if you look up either,
Sorry.
yeah, if you look
Mindful.
up my name or those words, you can look at Amazon. It's published, the book is published by Corwin Press. It's Corwin. And I mention that because sometimes if you price compare, one site will have a better deal, you know. So Corwin Press is a division of Sage, and they're the publisher of the book, and it's also listed on Amazon. So yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
So let me see. No, I don't see any questions now. Maybe we can ask for more questions. People, would you like to ask a question to Caitlin more about mindfulness or the work she's doing or the book? Or do you want to share something? Ah, I see questions.
I love questions.
Me too.
I love conversation.
Merlin, Mike.
Yes,
Are you?
me again.
Thanks.
Yes. Do you coach teams or persons, and what's on which medium are you doing it, and what's the content of these? Like, is it more is it always about meditation, or is it like how they work together, or how do you coach teams on which content and on which medium?
It's usually yes. The answer is yes. The answer is always yes and.
That's good.
Yeah, when I started MindWise, I was living in Switzerland, and so I had been teaching there. I started the company, and a lot of people said, "Well, you know, your company involves mindfulness, but to me, mindfulness is a lens. It's not necessarily the destination. It is a way." And I say that because I'm very careful. The work that I do is not prescriptive. It's more inviting for each person to take these techniques and a methodology and then make it their own. So when I started working with some MindWise projects, I realized that learning is not in a box, and it's not that we stop learning when we're a certain age. So I began working at places like hackathons, Impact Hub, if you've heard of Fab Labs, and places where people are working with different technologies and interfaces. And then I started coaching some teams, whether it was teams of people who were working at a startup and they needed to innovate more creatively. So a lot of what I do involves creative design and mindset shifts. And I am a coach. And when I work on projects, sometimes I also help with things like the story design. I'm a writer, and I think for me, just loving storytelling and writing becomes part of the work in a very integrative way. And you know, that being said, it means that every project can kind of take on some new forms. Like one of the VR projects I was working on recently involved a VR simulation that targets depression. And we were working on the design of what the space should look like and what the script should be. Should there be times when the sound is off or on? And so me, with my mindfulness background and also the many different elements I bring to the project, just made it really nice to collaborate with the people doing some of the programming and some of the other design. And I think that's, to me, it seems like that's going to be part of the future of maybe jobs and work, because I like coupling with technologies that involve some level of artificial intelligence, some level of, you know, everything that's replicated can be a certain processing, and then our creative elements are what makes humans really special. So I think, yeah, for me, a lot of the projects I'm involved in, involve a certain level of emotion and emotional intelligence and also creative design. Yeah, and I remind myself all the time, stay human. Don't forget my human body. Right now I'm rolling my shoulders back. If anyone else wants to do that too as we talk, feel free. Yeah, because we're here, and I think this is a really interesting place to remind ourselves that we're human in the midst of the machines. Yeah. So thank you so much. Your questions are really inspiring, as are everybody's here together.
Yes, I think we have one more question. Saved for live? Or was that the last one? No, eh? Saved for live? Or did I already took you?
I already asked mine.
Ah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's okay.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
Yeah, the website. Something occurred to me as I was talking there that I might want to chime in and add if I'm not speaking too long. Dana Maria, you can tell
No,
me if we
no
have a little
problem.
time.
No, yes.
Well, two things. First off, it's awesome to be here because you and I are building a project where, we're building so many ideas, and there are also things to share that maybe we'll want to share with this group that are coming up. But also, I wanted to share that I was reading lately too. I do a lot of research at the same time with my work. I was reading that our stress levels as a global population, there's a higher level of cortisol right now that you might be experiencing. If you're interested in coaching, I still work with a physio. I like to do a lot of exercise. And she was telling me to actually make sure I take it easier right now. And I thought, oh, that's strange because I've been getting up and trying to just, run and do everything that I usually do and even step it up a notch because I feel like I have to almost be a warrior against what's happening globally. And she was saying actually that maybe, we can kind of use ourselves as just pay attention to your body. If we're in a fight or flight situation, and sometimes, being in this pandemic makes us feel nervous, the cortisol levels rise and we feel greater stress and anxiety, and we sometimes try to couple that with overtraining. So I just wanted to make people aware. There are different studies out there about the cortisol level and the stress level in our body. And she just reminded me to be gentle with myself. So if you're like me and sometimes you like to be a warrior and go out there and try to, be a force for good and also push yourself to the limit, just know that, your body might be giving you signals right now to do some stretching and just pay attention and not necessarily, treat yourself as that warrior that has to conquer through overtraining. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
just thought I would
thank
chime
you
in.
so much. Yeah,
Sure.
Caitlin, because for me, I really can relate to that, this warrior feeling, and always want to go and attack, not attack, but, we want to make something good out of this experience, turn the corona crisis into something positive. But
Yeah.
I feel sometimes so tired lately because of also the heaviness of sometimes the energy, and I sometimes just want to just sleep longer than I usually normal do, and also want to take more like a relaxation on the couch, like a couch hanging. And then I feel sometimes guilty, or not guilty, but like I don't feel like I should do something, I now need to make progress or do something to make something out of this positive. And this is, I like that what you were saying, and I think it's really good advice. We need to take a step back in these times and really just, and this is also a time given us to give us this relaxation. We can now actually just take that relaxation and without feeling guilty or that we have to do something. So I really can relate to that. So thank you.
Sure
Yeah.
thing. Sure thing.
Anybody else? Let me see. Is there? Yes, Laurel, go on. Ask your
Yes,
question.
I am so glad that you both are here doing this because it is so needed. And So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay.
We're loving it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's great.
Can you provide us with some apps, tips, events, things that we can, or just basic skills in VR, really using VR to maintain our sanity as well as move towards this more, I call it instinctual training. It's because I don't have the language like you do, but the really focused and yet safe experience for VR. I'm not making any sense all of a sudden.
No, you are.
Am I?
You're actually
Am
making
I?
complete sense. Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, it's a watch this space for about 2 weeks, because right now I'm working on an article kind of idea for a place called VR Fitness Insider. They've been asking me, and so far I've been kind of like MacGyver, just making things out of different apps and worlds. But now I have this chance to explore. I'm going to be going with, do you know, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Matt Chacon, Chacon. His Twitter is the VR CEO. He's going to take me into a yoga space that he knows about. Then somebody else is showing me a project that's related to mindfulness and VR next week. So I'm doing some active researching, because for me, dropping in on spaces is always a moment of wonder. And I'm running an experience this Saturday in Engage, where we're working with mindfulness in VR and all of this idea about capacity and collaboration. So I'm building an experience at 10 on Saturday, Pacific time, for people to come together as a group. But I understand what you mean. You mean like a list of apps and places that you could use and come into.
Just in general. Yeah,
Yeah.
just in general,
Yeah.
kind of just giving us an oversight of what are our choices, and not just
Yep.
like naming, engage this, but I'm looking
Exactly.
at experiential kind of descriptions of how we can use it, not necessarily what.
Yeah, and considerations. I will say that I went into Half-Life Alex, and I thought, wow, this is such a mindfulness space, until the action started happening. So I really love being there and just writing on the board. And I think it's an interesting topic, how you can almost approach different experiences that might be designed for one thing, but you're using them to drop in on awareness. So what I'm thinking is, watch this space, and maybe what I can do is drop a list out there of spaces that I just like and enjoy, and see a certain aspect of mindfulness in there. And then we can all try them out and share what we think. Maybe that could be even the topic for a vCoaching in the future. Like, what are people finding in VR that's useful to them?
Beautiful. And we can also put that information in Discord at the vCoaching and personal development track. We would like you, everybody, to be a member of that if you like, and then you can also share your knowledge and tips and tricks into this track, and then we can have all these information there that is about personal development and coaching, and mindfulness, of course.
Yeah, I did like some concerts in the Wave, by the way. I was in the Wave VR, and I found myself in the middle of an interactive musical. I think Bjork might have created it, but it was so transcendent and calming and beautiful. And of course, it doesn't have to bear a label of this is mindfulness or this is relaxing. I think part of this is it's integrated into the experience in a really nice way. So that is definitely one of my favorites. And I also like underwater, so I'm going to look for some deep sea diving experiences that I would recommend that don't involve fear and shock and trauma, but might be more of a wonderscape. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I made some 360 images, 360 videos on the in the Caribbean water. Beautiful blue water. So maybe we can make a nice tool of that. I was thinking about it then. And
that would be
also
amazing.
So that could be also a hit. Maybe next time we can maybe try to share it also, these things in and the vCoaching and personal development track our own images. I have some also images that people just can see on YouTube. That is like meditating, a meditating place by the lake, and it's watched a few times. So I can share it in Discord to see if you can use it with your laptop or VR glasses on and watch the YouTube video.
Okay.
That's
Is everyone
possible,
here on Discord? Is that how people keep in touch? Because you and I are also having an event on the 28th that people
Yes,
here
please.
could join and come to
Please
on May 28th.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go on. Yes.
And it will be on the Educators in VR website and all the social media as well. So it'll be everywhere.
Yeah. Just so you can keep in touch, we're running something that's more experiential, where people can come and Dana Maria and I will both be leading some exercises, all to do with really transformation, well-being, mindfulness infused, about breaking down those barriers and also getting grounded for all of us who might, just need those extra practices. Who doesn't, by the way, to use in our coaching, in our life. Yeah, and it's neat to think about being able to cross barriers, doing this in a social environment where you can come on the 28th at 10 o'clock Pacific time, which I think starts an hour later than this event started. So whatever time zone you are in, it's going to be an hour later than today's start time. And we're going to get together on May 28th and have a journey together where we will start with grounding, and then we're going to just take it to a new level and do these exercises where each of us gets a chance to play and connect and see how we feel as we use these vCoaching exercises in practice. So that's how I would describe it, but watch the space.
Yes.
As Laurel said, the event is hosted, it's Educators in VR, and I just feel really excited to be part of this experience. Yeah, as Dana Maria said, she's a captain, and I'm on the ship, and I think this is just such a nice group of people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I have some questions here also, some more questions. Mike, do you want to say something or ask something?
Yes. So these events sounds great. I still have to join the Discord, so I will definitely do that. And I just wanted to add on your remark on Half-Life Alyx. So I wasn't able to join myself because I just have the Quest, and I think that needs like more power, unfortunately. But I saw a video of a math teacher using Half-Life Alyx to teach math like on the board and writing on the board. So that was like really amazing to that he like not jumping into the action, but just use that and use that as a classroom. So yeah, that was like really fun to see. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'll have to look up that video. I had heard about that, but I hadn't watched it. And of course, that puts to shame me just writing my name as graffiti, right? I could have been doing math. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's Merlin?
Yes.
Merlin Michelson.
At least in here, it's Merlin. Yes.
I love it. Yeah. No, thank you so much for bringing that up. And it's true. We can transform different worlds, and I think some of these worlds in VR, probably that's a more captivating math experience also for the learner. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, nice. Great. And let me see if there are more questions. No more questions? Oh yeah, Natalie has a question. Go on, Natalie.
Oh, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes?
Yes, we can. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Natalie? Oh, not anymore.
If this is,
she's
there is a
gone.
Natalie. So Natalie's been messaging me, and it could be the same Natalie. I will share. There is a person, Natalie, that's messaging me about working on a university program that's using some forms of mindfulness. So maybe she'll write to both of us in the future, and we can talk about this at the next event or keep in touch. I do
There you
have
go.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that's
I'm sorry
you,
about
That's
that.
Natalie.
Natalie.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
actually muted
introducing you.
myself. I'm so sorry. I've been trying
Okay.
to get my mic to work, and it was the stupidest thing. I just had to turn it on, switch
Oh,
it
we've
over.
all been there.
So,
We've been there. We've been there.
so yeah, I teach English composition at a state college, and I've been dying to use at least VR spaces to. My theory is that the social presence element really would heighten my students' experience of online learning, especially in office settings and more informal kind of gatherings where I have them come in 2D, right? Because not all of my students could afford VR. So I'm just kind of curious, do you have kind of the same belief that it's probably a really good environment for that kind of casual conversation with students? I would love to do lots of lectures, of course, too, but I think I would pre-record those and then just let them watch those recordings of me in a space. But I just thought, what are your thoughts or feelings about using alt space, especially in 2D for students, for that purpose?
Could I ask you, what's your number one goal out of using it? Because I know you're in an English composition class. So what would your goal be in using it? Maybe you said this already, and if it's hard to unmute yourself, I'll take a stab. But I think there are so many reasons that you can benefit from using AltSpace with a class. I would also look up Joystick. It's a program that Joe Nugent started at Boston College that uses Ulysses as a model for different students coming together in a collaborative way. So he had English students looking at the models in Joystick of reforming Ulysses into a VR experience. I think that if the collaboration is happening and you want to use AltSpace for a class to get together, I think it can be awesome for collaboration and just to see how people approach sharing in a different way in VR. Of course, with access and accessibility, it's going to be, I think if you treat it like something that is a work in progress and you're finding out as you go and you have different students with different roles of taking charge so you don't feel like it's all on your shoulders, I think it can be really wonderful. So I don't see why not. I would say just document the process and keep in touch with us while it's happening.
Yeah, so one element of it is I teach composition, but a large part of that is rhetoric, right? So we also kind of focus on interpersonal communications, and a huge component of success in English classrooms is that interpersonal community network, right? Building that trust so that you can exchange drafts with other people and not feel as though you're being judged, right? So I think part of it for me is just building a bond with my students and keeping that community strong, right? And I feel like VR, for me at least, is the strongest sense of social presence I have. I have extreme social anxiety to the point of agoraphobia. So in VR, I don't have those same kinds of feelings because it's very sensory oriented, right? So I just kind of think it would be a really good way to build that community in my class.
I think it would be great. And I think it would be nice to use it as a meta tool. And I'm echoing, by the way, so if you mute yourself, then it'll... Okay, so I'm laughing in this process. For me, just to put an example on this, I went into University of San Francisco a couple of months ago, right before the lockdown, and I was working with students who were in a composition class with a focus on diversity and inclusion, and they were looking at the ways that involving VR spaces can get people involved in seeing from different perspectives, taking on maybe more empathy, and also creating scenarios. And maybe with the rhetoric class, this could also be about both persuasive elements of argumentation, but also just seeing from multiple perspectives. You could play around with, students just seeing how maybe they have more flexible mindsets when they're either in VR or looking at somebody else's experience that they script out in a VR scenario. So it could involve some script writing. So I think right now, because so much is, we're in a state of maybe some instability with the methods, like the way that we go about learning is shifting, it gives us a great opportunity to just take these chances. I would tell Natalie, like, this sounds awesome. You know, and for me as a student, I would love to then get together as a class and talk about what people discovered, what they found out. I think it's kind of a nice sandbox to look at what people discover and process. It makes it, to me, more malleable and fun. But I'd love to hear more from you as you start to use that with your students. Okay, this has been so inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, keep in touch for sure.
We have some more questions. Let me see. Logan Tisvi. Logan Tisvi, you can speak now. Can you ask your question?
Hello, you hear me?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Where's Logan?
Yes, but I don't
I
see
can
you.
hear you.
But who are you? Can you ask your question? Oh, is he gone? I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Let me see. Yes?
Yes, we can hear you. I think you're right next to me. Hello.
Yes. Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I was just wondering if you guys had any plans for religious views, like for people that because there's a lot of rules and stipulations in people's religion that keep them from doing stuff like the VR, and I was just wondering if you were gonna include that in any of your things that you guys plan on doing in the future. Maybe religious apps, or I say religion, but what I mean is more like, you know, like beliefs. You know, it goes as far as one God to many. My personal belief, I guess that doesn't matter, but I was just wondering if you had anything for that in the future.
I think it's a great question because for me, I would say there's spirituality involved in what I'm doing, and right now, you know, for me, it's an inclusive, more of a value system, you know, kind of like when we got together and I said, let's make sure our back is not to anyone else. It's because I believe in the value of collective humanity, and, you know, breaking down to different religions, I am not skilled in those areas of knowing what the limits are for different religions in VR, but I'm really curious about what places have, you know, said is encouraged. And I think that this would involve maybe people like you who know more about it coming together and telling us, because I think I like to meet people where they're at.
And Caitlin, if I can add,
Sure.
just letting people know that there are quite a few spiritual and religious events and organizations that are here on AltSpace. There's Evolve VR, there's the VR Church, and the Cornerstone Church, and many other ones. And there's also, I always mess this up, Live Loved, which is a Christian base, you know, Bible study, but it's also, you know, it's a great just conversational discussion, sharing opportunities that's been very, very successful here. So there are tons of them in across all of the events platforms. So I recommend that if you're looking for something here in AltSpace that you do check the events calendar and, you know, start your own. There's also a humanist. There's a humanist one that also, depending on where you're from, how you pronounce it, that is also regularly here in AltSpace. So it covers everything.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of new in this the whole VR thing. I used to be like a really bad gamer. I was addicted to it, but now that I'm an adult, I'm trying to get back into it in a more educated level, and VR is really where it's at nowadays. But the thing that I've run into mostly talking to friends that are also new into VR, they don't know the rules, and they feel like in most places when they bring up religion, they're going to get in trouble. But a lot of them are like, you know, rebels. They like that. They'll you know suffer for the case of. So you know they go ahead with it, but a lot of them don't. So if there's like any way we can make those rules posted a little better so that, you know, they know what they can and cannot do, because we don't want to offend anybody. You know, most religious people.
They're in the for AltSpace. Every platform has their own rules. It's in the terms of service as well as the community standards, and they're posted in a general form in the info zone when you come into AltSpace.
Okay, right.
So,
And
yeah,
I
so
just
I'd
know
like to
for a
keep
fact
this
that a
back
lot of
on.
people
Yeah, but I'd like to bring
don't
this.
read
We only have a
that.
few. We only have a few minutes
Yeah.
left, so I'd
Sure,
really
go
like
ahead.
to bring
I'm
this back
done.
on focus with
Sure, sure.
Kaylin and Captain VR.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. I
Thank
appreciate
Yes,
it.
you.
thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
thanks.
So it would be nice that we can close with some beautiful positive words so we can to take away with, because we have another 5 more minutes and then I just want to end the session and we like to take away something positive. So I would like to see if I can open everybody to so everybody can speak and just say something, maybe just like say something that they want to share that has something to do with positivity and to take her home with. Anybody? You're all unmuted, if you like. Yes, hearts
This
is already
the
nice.
setting
Yeah.
gives a sense. The setting gives such a sense of
I
community.
will just start out by sharing that
Sorry,
during
Isaac is
Mhm.
Yeah.
saying something. Sorry, Isaac.
So
Oh,
I was saying,
Isaac, are
yeah.
you saying something? I can't hear you.
I
Yeah.
was
Oh, can you not hear him?
um
Oh, sorry. I'm
No.
gonna see what is going
to
on.
to, to
Isaac, moment, please, because people cannot hear you. I try to get your sound up. Yeah. Moment, please.
yeah. No. Okay. Now we can
Ah,
hear me.
can
Yeah.
you hear him? Okay.
So
Yes. Great.
just to share that this space is really giving the sense of a new community being formed, a global community of people who are passionate about certain things and has the intimacy of the first steps in creating a community before it becomes fully mainstream and commercialized. So just to note this.
I like that. I consider it a precious time. I also hope it's not a when it becomes commercialized, because I think we have a certain power to keep that for values and of course non-binary. Just saying that I think that when people come together for a purpose and they have values at the core, and for me that's about inclusion and everyone feeling welcome. Um, yeah, that's important, and we can build something amazing. I like what you're saying because it kind of involves a movement that's collective power. And in a minor way, I would like to share with you that I took my shoes off halfway through this talk. I felt really comfortable, and I just felt like, hey, why am I wearing shoes? And so that's just a little kind of mindfulness, feel the floor exercise. But if you also wanted to, I was going to invite, as we're sharing and we're unmuted, just if everyone wanted to take a breath in through your nose with me,
Nice.
just really
Yes.
slowly,
Breathe in.
and out through your mouth. Just exhale. And maybe one more in. Kind of let yourself feel a little more ease. And as you let your breath out,
I'm taking my shoes
I'm
off.
leaving with
That's
a
it.
sense of gratitude from my feet up. Just kind of experiencing for me what's the start of my day in a really positive way here. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Caitlin. That was so beautiful that you were having this session with us. So thank you so much. And we love to do this together again, the 28th of May. So we hope to see you all there. You can sign up on the event space, Laurel. Is that true? They can already sign up.
No, I'm
How
trying
does
to
it
get it
work?
out today. So the information will be out on our social media. It'll also be on like our Discord channel and on our website at Educators in VR, hopefully in the next few hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
great, great. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for
thank
being
you.
here. This is actually Laurel van Vossen. She's the founder of Educators in VR, and she's making this all possible. So give her a big hand. And also
We're
please give
so lucky.
a, a big hand to Bogdan and Jason. Bogdan is doing the technical things here around here, and also Jason, he's filming and
Thank
recording
you.
this. If you don't want to be recorded or you don't want to be in the video, just tell me right now and or in the message. That's no problem. We just take the whole session out. Just we let the presentation with Caitlin show. So whatever, if you don't like to be in the camera, please tell me. And thank you so much, everybody. I really like this crowd. Every week you are here many times, so please give a big hand to.
Thank you so much, guys. This has been so
thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we hope to see you next week.
Thank
Everybody.
you so much, and a huge shout out to
Our
everybody who's
28th will be
VR.
a deeper dive on May 28th. So just to say that'll be a 2-hour event just so we have more time to do the exercises together. So.
Okay, so now it's selfie time.
Okay. Oh, I love that. That's great.
Yeah, maybe Laurel, can you do the selfie with us? You are the best selfie maker.
Okay, well, so everybody turn around so that the building is behind, and then get behind Caitlin and so let's get the building behind with all the nature and the trees. So turn around.
Okay.
Let me get the camera. So everybody turn around and get behind Caitlin and Dana Maria, and let's there. So let me get this.
Try to get the.
Yeah, so
here, I'm here.
Dana Maria, where's Dana Maria? There she is. All right, get it. Now everybody come in closer. Yeah, there's. Oops, I have space. Personal space bubble. I forgot. Personal space bubbles have to be off. Yep, because I just made Caitlin invisible. All right. Anybody else? Okay, so most people left. Okay, hang on. All right, give me some hearts. Give me some hearts. Hearts. Oh, you guys are awesome at this. Yay. All right, one more because somebody blinked. Somebody blinked. You know, it's terrible when our avatars blink. All right, hearts. Hearts. Yay. And there we go. All right, beautiful. No more blinking.
I love this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dana Maria. Dana Maria's face. Here we are.
Here.
I'm going to put those up on social media right now.
They're right here.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Make sure your bubbles are off.
I don't move.
Great.
Shall I make a heart? Yeah.
Yeah. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, it worked. Okay, that's super. Oh my gosh.
Let's make one with Bogdan also. Bogdan. Also with Bogdan in the picture. Bogdan is here.
Well, we look a little like twinsies. I like this.
Let's do
red shoes. The whole and then I thought, this is from nature. I was putting on a nature shirt for today. And then wow.
Oh, I've been world building. I always wear red shoes when I'm world building.
You have to come a little bit closer, Caitlin. Yes, a little bit more. Yeah.
Good.
We have the crew. Okay. No, I don't see you.
I'm
a little bit more closer. Oh, no.
I don't know if really. Could I be closer?
Maybe you can make a picture with us. Then you see where we stand. There are you. Yeah. Oh, no, you're gone again. You're gone. You're probably right behind me.
I am. I'm right next to you. If you look to your right.
Okay. No, you're not in the picture, really. It's just Bogdan and me.
Laurel, I don't know how I can be closer.
Laurel, can you do it? And Jason, we want Jason in there too. Come, Jason. He's the crew member also. Come. And Laurel, the whole crew, please come. All of us.
Oh, okay.
Bogdan, Laurel,
get over here.
Caitlin.